February 18th, 1943, 12:26 in the afternoon, Boeing Field, Seattle, Washington. Staff Sergeant Harold Bowers is staring at a temperature gauge that is about to kill him. The needle reads 312 degrees Celsius and climbing. Engine number 1, Wright R3350, 18 cylinders, 2200 horsepower, currently on fire. Bowers is the flight engineer on Boeing XB-29 prototype number 410003. He is 24 years old, married 8 months ago to a girl named Patricia from Tacoma. They are trying for a baby. 3 weeks ago, Patricia asked him if his job was dangerous. He lied and said no. The temperature gauge hits 320 degrees. Bowers reaches for the intercom switch. His hand is shaking. He keys the mic. Engine 1 fire, confirmed visual. I can see flames in the cowling. In the cockpit, test pilot Edmund T. Allen does not panic. Eddie Allen is 43 years old, 15,000 flight hours, the best test pilot in America. He has survived 3 crash landings, 2 engine failures, and 1 mid-air collision. He has a reputation for bringing damaged aircraft home. His voice comes back calm and measured. Roger Harold. Pulling fire handle engine 1, feathering prop. Bob. Give me a heading for Boeing Field. Co-pilot Robert Dansfield checks the navigation chart. They are 11 miles northwest of Seattle. Altitude 7,200 feet. If they maintain current descent rate, they can reach the runway in 14 minutes, maybe 15. What nobody in that cockpit knows, what Boeing engineers will discover 3 hours later while sifting through wreckage, is that 14 minutes is approximately 8 minutes too long. In the rear fuselage, Sergeant Roy Pruitt is manning the waist gun position. He has a better view of engine number 1 than anyone else on the aircraft. What he sees through the gun blister makes his stomach drop. The cowling has peeled away. Bright orange liquid is streaming backward along the wing surface. Not oil, something brighter, something that burns white hot even in direct sunlight. Pruitt keys his intercom. His voice cracks. Eddie, the wing is on fire. The wing is burning. I can see through the wing root. The metal is melting. Allen responds immediately. His voice is still calm, but there is an edge now, an urgency. All crew prepare for emergency landing. Bob, get the gear down. Harold, I need manifold pressure on engines 2, 3, and 4. Everything we have. We are going down fast, and I need power. Bowers pushes the throttles forward. Engines 2, 3, and 4 respond. Their temperature gauges climb into the yellow zone. 260 degrees, 270. At these power settings, they will overheat in approximately 20 minutes. At these power settings, they might also catch fire. In the cockpit, Allen is doing math in his head. 11 miles to Boeing Field. Current ground speed 180 knots. 6 minutes flight time. Altitude 7,000 feet. Descent rate 800 feet per minute. They will arrive at the runway at approximately 1,000 feet altitude. Too high for a straight-in approach. They will need to circle. That adds 2 minutes, maybe 3. The problem is they do not have 8 minutes. They have maybe 4. Allen can feel it through the control yoke. The aircraft is vibrating, not engine vibration, structural vibration. The left wing spar is failing. He has felt this before on a Douglas DC-4 prototype in 1940. That time, he had 30 seconds warning before wing separation. He got lucky. The wing held together until he got the aircraft on the ground. He is about to bet 11 lives that he gets lucky again. At 12:31, 5 minutes into the emergency, something changes. Pruitt sees it first. The orange liquid fire is now white, brilliant white, magnesium white. The temperature of burning magnesium is 3,100 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt through steel in under 60 seconds. The wing spar is aluminum. Aluminum melts at 660 degrees. Pruitt watches the wing root start to glow red, then orange, then white. He can see daylight through holes that were not there 10 seconds ago. The wing is burning from the inside out. Pruitt does not key the intercom. There is nothing to say. He reaches for his parachute harness and checks the buckles. His hands are shaking so badly he can barely work the clips. In the cockpit, Alan sees the runway. Boeing Field, straight ahead, 4 miles. They are at 3,000 feet, too high. He starts a banking turn to bleed off altitude. As the aircraft rolls left, the damaged wing flexes upward. The motion is visible from the cockpit. Wings are not supposed to flex like that. Co-pilot Dansfield sees it too. His voice is tight. "Eddie, the wing is bending. Eddie, we need to bail out. Eddie, we need to go now." Alan does not respond. He is committed to the landing. 11 men on board. Bailing out at 3,000 feet over downtown Seattle means parachutes opening over residential neighborhoods. It means 11 men scattered across 5 square miles. It means some of them landing on houses, on power lines, on the Duwamish River. It means maybe 6 survivors instead of 11. Alan keeps the aircraft in the turn. The runway is visible through the side window. 2 miles, 90 seconds. He starts to roll wings level for final approach. The wing spar fails at 12:33, 7 minutes after the fire started. The failure is catastrophic. The main spar beam, a hardened aluminum alloy girder 8 inches deep, burns completely through at the wing root. Without the spar to carry load, the entire wing structure collapses. The wing does not separate cleanly. Instead, it folds upward and backward, pivoting on the remaining attachment points. The fuel tanks rupture. 700 gallons of 100-octane aviation fuel sprays into the 3,000-degree magnesium fire. The fireball is visible from downtown Seattle, 9 miles away. The aircraft enters an immediate left spin. Airspeed bleeds off from 180 knots to 0 in less than 3 seconds. The nose pitches down 70 degrees. The aircraft is no longer flying. It is falling. 68,000 pounds of aluminum, steel, magnesium, fuel, bombs, ammunition, and 11 men falling at terminal velocity toward South Park, Seattle. At 12:33 and 18 seconds, XB-29 prototype 410003 impacts the northwestern corner of the Fry Packing Company building. The aircraft is traveling approximately 190 miles per hour in a 70-degree nose-down attitude. The impact generates forces exceeding 200 times gravity. Every man on board is dead before the fuel ignites. The explosion is heard in Tacoma, 25 miles away. 20 women working the bacon packing line on the second floor of the Fry building die within the first 10 seconds. Most never know what hit them. A bomber the size of a 2-story house comes through the roof, traveling nearly 200 miles per hour. There is no warning, no air raid siren, no time to run. Just sudden violent death in the middle of a Thursday afternoon shift. Seattle Fire Department Engine Company 12 arrives 4 minutes later. Captain George Hawk leads his crew toward the burning wreckage. He does not know the aircraft is a B-29. He does not know about the magnesium components. He does not know that water makes magnesium fires worse. He orders his crew to open the hoses. 2,000 gallons per minute, straight onto the burning engines. The magnesium fire triples in intensity. The white flame reaches 40 feet high. Hawk is standing 12 feet from the wreckage when a secondary explosion throws burning magnesium fragments across the impact site. Hawk takes 3 pieces of burning metal across his chest and abdomen. The magnesium burns through his turnout coat, through his uniform, into his flesh. By the time his crew pulls him away, he has burns covering 78% of his body. He will die 4 hours later at Harborview Hospital. Final casualty count: 33 dead, 11 aircrew, 20 Fry Packing Company employees, 1 Seattle firefighter, 1 Boeing test observer, another 47 injured, 16 will lose limbs, 23 will have permanent disfigurement from burns. The property damage exceeds $400,000. The aircraft is valued at $3.4 million. The most expensive military prototype in American history is now a smoking crater in South Park, Seattle. But here is what makes this tragedy truly catastrophic. This is not the first time. This is not an isolated incident. This is not bad luck or pilot error or mechanical anomaly. This is a pattern. This is a design flaw. And everybody knows it. 3 months earlier, December 1942, Wichita, Kansas. B-29 number 426365 catches fire during a training flight. The crew bails out, 7 survivors, 4 dead. 2 weeks later, same airfield, different aircraft, engine fire. Crew bails out, 9 survivors, 2 dead. January 1943, Renton, Washington. Engine fire during takeoff roll. Aircraft never leaves the ground. Crew evacuates, 0 deaths, but the aircraft is destroyed. 16 days later, same location, another fire. This time at altitude. Crew bails out, 8 survivors, 3 dead. The statistics are classified. The crews know anyway. Between December 1942 and March 1944, 47 B-29 bombers are destroyed by in-flight engine fires. Not combat losses. Training flights. Ferry flights. Test flights. Aircraft taking off from Kansas, from Texas, from Washington State, catching fire and falling out of the sky over American soil. 403 crew members dead. These are not enemy casualties. These are friendly fire casualties, except the fire is coming from their own engines. At Boeing headquarters in Seattle, there is a wall. Nobody calls it the death wall, but everybody knows what it is. Photographs. 53 8x10 black and white photographs. Each photograph shows a B-29 crew. 11 men in leather jackets standing in front of their aircraft, smiling, confident, young. These are not memorial photographs. These are standard crew photos taken before deployment, but every man in every photograph on that wall is dead, killed by engine fires. Boeing updates the wall every week. New photographs, new dead crews. In the front row of one photograph is Staff Sergeant Harold Bowers, the flight engineer from the Eddie Allen crew, 24 years old, married 8 months. In the photograph, he is smiling. His arm is around another crew member. His eyes are bright. He looks like every other 24-year-old American kid in 1943, confident, invincible, ready to win a war. His widow, Patricia, receives the telegram on February 19, 1943. She is 3 weeks pregnant. She does not know it yet. 500 miles south, at Boeing's Wichita plant, a metallurgical engineer named Henry Borgstrom is standing in the assembly bay looking at B-29 number 428170. It is a beautiful aircraft, 141-foot wingspan, pressurized cabin, remote-controlled gun turrets, range of 4,000 miles, designed to carry 12,000 pounds of bombs to Tokyo and back. The future of strategic air power. Borgstrom is 38 years old, Norwegian immigrant. came to America in 1923 with nothing, worked copper mines in Montana, put himself through engineering school, got hired by Boeing in 1938, spent the last 5 years solving unsolvable problems, bearing failures, metal fatigue, hydraulic system malfunctions. When something is broken and nobody knows how to fix it, Hank Borgstrom is the guy they call. Today is March 2nd, 1944. Borgstrom has just returned from Seattle. He attended Harold Bauer's funeral 2 days ago. He did not know Bowers personally. He went anyway. There were 60 people at the funeral. 58 were family and friends. 2 were Boeing engineers. Borgstrom and a stress analyst named Ted Crawford. Patricia Bowers spoke at the service. She was composed, dignified. She talked about Harold, how he loved flying, how proud he was to work on the B-29 program, how he believed they were building something that would end the war. She never cried, not during the service. But afterward, in the parking lot, she saw Borgstrom's Boeing identification badge. She walked up to him. She grabbed his lapel. Her voice was quiet, controlled, furious. "Do not let my husband die for nothing. Fix your airplane. Fix it or stop building it. Stop killing them." She walked away. Borgstrom stood in the parking lot for 10 minutes. He could not move. He kept thinking about the wall in Seattle, the 53 crews, the 403 dead men. He kept thinking about the telegram Patricia Bowers received. The telegram that said her husband died serving his country. The telegram that did not say he died because Wright Aeronautical used magnesium supercharger housings to save 4 pounds per engine. Borgstrom is thinking about this when his phone rings. His secretary Mary tells him there is a call from Washington. She sounds nervous. She says it is General Arnold's office, Army Air Force's headquarters. Borgstrom assumes this is a mistake. He picks up the phone. A voice identifies itself as Colonel Thomas Hitchcock, General Arnold's aide. Hitchcock asks if this is Henry Borgstrom, metallurgical engineer, Boeing Wichita plant. Borgstrom confirms. Hitchcock tells him to hold for General Arnold. 30 seconds of silence. Then a voice that Borgstrom recognizes from newsreels. General Henry Harley Arnold, Commanding General of the United States Army Air Forces, the man responsible for every aircraft, every pilot, every bomb dropped by American forces. He is talking directly to a civilian engineer in Wichita, Kansas. "Mr. Borgstrom, this is Hap Arnold. I am going to be blunt because I do not have time to be polite. Your B-29 bombers are killing my crews faster than the Germans killed them over Schweinfurt. In the last 16 months, I have lost 47 aircraft and 403 men to engine fires. Not combat, engine fires. Training flights over American territory. I have 1,500 more B-29s under construction. I have 6,000 pilots in training. I have a strategic bombing campaign planned against Japan that depends entirely on the B-29, and right now I have a 93-hour mean time between catastrophic failure rate on the R3350 engine. Do you know what that means?" Borgstrom finds his voice. It sounds hollow. It means the engines fail after 93 hours of operation. Correct. It also means that a round-trip mission to Tokyo is 16 hours, which means each engine is guaranteed to fail after exactly 5.8 missions. And when they fail, they do not just stop working. They catch fire and burn through the wing spar in under 6 minutes. I have crews refusing to fly. I have pilots submitting resignation letters. I have Boeing engineers telling me the problem cannot be fixed without an 18-month engine redesign. And I have exactly 90 days before the first combat wing deploys to Saipan. Arnold pauses. Borgstrom can hear papers rustling. I am told you solve impossible problems. I am told when Boeing has a failure mode that should ground an entire program, they call you, and somehow you find a fix. I am told you have no formal training in thermodynamics, but you figured out why the B-17 supercharger seals were failing at altitude when 6 MIT engineers could not. Is this accurate? Borgstrom thinks about Patricia Bowers, about Harold Bowers, about the wall in Seattle. Yes, sir, that is accurate. Good. You now work for me. As of this moment, you are assigned to Project Silverplate, Priority Classification AA1. You have unlimited access to any facility, any engineer, any technical document in the United States. You will report directly to my office every 72 hours. Your assignment is to fix the R3350 engine fire problem. You have 90 days. If you succeed, you save approximately 800 lives and you win the Pacific War. If you fail, I cancel the B-29 program and we lose the war. Do you understand? Borgstrom looks at the photograph on his desk. His wife, Anna, married 14 years, 2 daughters, ages 8 and 11. He thinks about Harold Bowers, about Patricia Bowers, about the 403 dead men. He thinks about the 800 more who will die if he fails. I understand, sir. I will fix it. How? I do not know yet. Arnold laughs. It is not a happy sound. Good answer. Most engineers would lie and tell me they already have a solution. You are honest. I appreciate that. My aide will have travel orders and security clearance ready within 2 hours. Your first stop is Wright Aeronautical in Paterson, New Jersey. Their chief engineer, Samuel Heron, designed the R3350. He will tell you the problem cannot be fixed. He is probably right. Fix it anyway. The line goes dead. Borgstrom sits at his desk. He is shaking. Not from fear, from something else. Clarity, maybe. Purpose. He picks up the phone. He calls his wife. He tells her he is leaving for New Jersey tonight. He does not know when he will be back. She asks if he is in trouble. He tells her no. He tells her he has been given a job, an impossible job. She knows her husband. She knows what that means. She tells him to be careful. She tells him she loves him. He tells her he loves her too. He hangs up. He looks at the photograph of B-29, number 428170. The beautiful aircraft that kills everyone who flies it. He thinks about 93 hours, about 5.8 missions, about 6 minutes from fire start to wing failure, about 800 men who do not know they are already dead unless he finds an answer. He picks up his briefcase. He walks out of the office. He has 90 days to beat physics. March 8th, 1944. 2:17 in the afternoon. Wright Aeronautical Corporation, Paterson, New Jersey. Henry Borgstrom is holding a piece of metal that killed 11 men. The component is roughly the size of a dinner plate, curved, blackened, covered in soot and char marks. There are 3 holes burned completely through the casting. The edges of the holes are melted, deformed, consumed by fire that burned hot enough to vaporize aluminum. This is a supercharger impeller housing, magnesium alloy. It came from B-29, number 426365, the aircraft that burned over Kansas in January. The holes were made by magnesium fire, 3,100 degrees Celsius. The crew bailed out. 9 survived. 2 did not. The bombardier and the navigator. They waited too long. By the time they jumped, the wing was already separating. Their parachutes opened. They hit the ground at 140 miles per hour. The impact killed them instantly. Borgstrom turns the component over in his hands. His fingers leave marks in the soot. He can feel the weight. Magnesium is light. This housing weighs maybe 4 pounds. 4 pounds that saved Boeing engineers 9 pounds per engine. 9 pounds that cost 2 lives. Standing across the table from him is Samuel Heron, chief engineer. Designer of the R3350, 62 years old. White hair, wire rim glasses, expensive suit. The look on his face suggests he has seen this conversation before and knows how it ends. Next to Heron is Thomas Hendricks, assistant chief engineer. Thin, nervous energy. He has not stopped moving since Borgstrom arrived 30 minutes ago, shifting weight, adjusting his glasses, checking his watch. A man who wants this meeting to be over. Heron speaks first. His voice is measured, professional, tired. Mr. Borgstrom, you are holding the reason we cannot fix this problem. That housing weighs 4.3 pounds. The steel equivalent weighs 13.7 pounds. 9.4 pounds heavier. Multiply by 4 engines. That is 37.6 pounds of additional weight. The Army Air Force rejected the steel design. They demanded maximum performance. We gave them maximum performance. And now their crews are dying because magnesium burns and we cannot stop it. Borgstrom sets the burned housing down carefully, as if it is fragile, as if it is sacred. He looks at Heron. Show me. Show you what? Show me how magnesium burns. Show me why it cannot be stopped. Heron and Hendricks exchange glances. Hendricks shakes his head slightly. Heron ignores him. He walks to a metal cabinet in the corner of the room. He opens it. Inside are various metal samples, test specimens. Heron selects a piece of magnesium stock, a rectangular bar approximately 4 inches long. He places it on the concrete floor in the center of the room. Heron pulls a lighter from his pocket, a standard Zippo. He flips it open, strikes it, holds the flame to the magnesium bar. Nothing happens for 5 seconds, then 10. At 15 seconds, the magnesium surface starts to glow. At 20 seconds, it ignites. The light is blinding, pure white. Borgstrom has to look away. The flame is small, maybe 2 inches tall, but the intensity is overwhelming. It is like looking directly at an arc welder. The magnesium burns with a harsh crackling sound. Sparks shower onto the concrete floor. Heron's voice cuts through the noise. Magnesium burns at 3,100 degrees Celsius. That is 5,600 degrees Fahrenheit. Aluminum melts at 660 degrees. Steel melts at 1,500 degrees. The wing spar on a B-29 is aluminum. Do the math. Borgstrom is still shielding his eyes from the light. The magnesium bar is half consumed. The flame shows no sign of diminishing. He can feel the heat from 6 feet away. Heron continues. Now watch this. He picks up a beaker of water from the table. He pours it directly onto the burning magnesium. Borgstrom expects the flame to extinguish. Instead, the opposite happens. The flame triples in size. The white light becomes even brighter. Steam and smoke fill the room. The crackling sound becomes a roar. Heron steps back from the fire. His face is illuminated by the harsh white light. He looks like a man demonstrating the end of the world. Water makes it worse. Magnesium strips oxygen from H2O and uses it as fuel. Carbon dioxide does the same thing. Every fire suppression system we have actually feeds a magnesium fire. The only way to extinguish burning magnesium is to smother it with sand or let it burn itself out. On a B-29 at altitude, you have neither option. You have 6 minutes from ignition to wing failure. Maybe 7 if you are lucky. There is no fix. There is no solution. There is only death. The magnesium bar finally burns out. The flame dies. What remains is a pool of white ash and a black scorch mark on the concrete floor. The room smells like burnt metal and ozone. Borgstrom's eyes are watering from the brightness. Heron walks back to the table. He sits down heavily. He looks exhausted. That is what your crews are experiencing, except instead of a 4-inch bar, it is a 4-pound housing. And instead of concrete floor, it is an aluminum wing spar. And instead of a laboratory, it is 7,000 feet over Kansas with 11 men who have maybe 4 minutes to bail out before the wing separates. The room is silent. Borgstrom is still staring at the scorch mark on the floor. He is thinking about Harold Bowers, about the temperature gauge reading 312 degrees, about Eddie Allen trying to reach Boeing Field, about the wing folding upward, about 33 people dead. Hendricks breaks the silence. His voice is sharp, defensive. Mr. Borgstrom, we have spent 18 months trying to fix this. We redesigned the baffling. We improved the cooling. We tested 14 different alloys. We tried steel housings. The Army rejected them. We tried titanium, too expensive and too scarce. We tried ceramic coatings. They failed after 12 hours. We tried everything. The problem is not fixable without a complete engine redesign, and that takes time we do not have. Borgstrom turns away from the scorch mark. He looks at Hendricks. Then we change the problem. Hendricks blinks. What? Borgstrom walks to the chalkboard on the wall. Someone has already drawn thermal diagrams, temperature curves, heat dissipation calculations. He picks up a piece of chalk. He starts writing. Everyone is trying to fix the engine. That is the wrong approach. The engine is fine. The engine works. The problem is we are operating it beyond its thermal limits. The rear cylinders cannot dissipate heat fast enough at full power. But what if crews do not run full power? Heron leans forward. We already discussed this with Boeing engineers 6 months ago. If crews reduce power, the aircraft cannot maintain altitude at combat weight. The B-29 weighs 135,000 pounds loaded. It needs full power to maintain cruise altitude. Borgstrom nods. Correct. But what if we let it descend? Hendricks stands up. Descend to where? The Pacific Ocean? Japanese fighters operate up to 25,000 feet. If B-29s descend below that altitude, they become targets. Borgstrom draws a graph on the chalkboard. Altitude on the vertical axis. Time on the horizontal axis. A curved line descending, then climbing. Aircraft takes off at full weight. Climbs to 25,000 feet at full power. Then reduces power to 1,800 horsepower. The aircraft descends gradually as it burns fuel. But here is the key. As fuel burns off, the aircraft gets lighter. After 4 hours of flight, the aircraft has burned off 20,000 pounds of fuel. It is now light enough that 1,800 horsepower can maintain altitude. After 8 hours, the aircraft is so light that 1,800 horsepower actually makes it climb. By the time they reach the target, they are back up at 28,000 feet, and the engines never exceed safe operating temperatures. The room is silent. Heron is staring at the chalkboard. His expression has changed. The exhaustion is gone. Now he looks interested. You are describing a cruise climb profile. Exactly. Transport aircraft use it for fuel efficiency. Why not bombers? Heron stands. He walks to the chalkboard. He studies Borgstrom's graph. He picks up chalk. He starts adding numbers. If crews maintain 1,800 horsepower for cruise, cylinder head temperatures should stabilize at 220 degrees. That is well within safe limits. Mean time between failure would increase from 93 hours to potentially 400 hours or more. He turns to face Borgstrom, but it violates every bomber doctrine the Air Force has developed. Formation integrity requires constant altitude. If aircraft are climbing and descending independently, formations break apart. Defensive firepower is compromised. Borgstrom sets down the chalk. Would you rather have compromised defensive firepower or no aircraft at all because they all burned up? Heron does not answer immediately. He is thinking. Finally, he speaks. The concept is sound. Thermodynamically, it should work. But you are asking the Army Air Force to rewrite 6 years of tactical doctrine. They will never agree. I have worked with military aviation for 30 years. They do not change doctrine, especially not doctrine written in blood over Germany. Borgstrom thinks about General Arnold. I do not care if you violate regulations. I do not care if you break protocol. He looks at Heron. Let me worry about doctrine. Can you give me detailed performance data? I need to prove this works before I present it to Arnold. Heron nods slowly. Yes, my engineers can prepare a full analysis. Power settings versus fuel consumption versus climb rate versus aircraft weight. It will take 48 hours. Good. I also need something else. I need to talk to pilots who survived engine fires. I need to understand what they experienced. The human side. Hendricks speaks up. There is a crew at McGuire Field in New Jersey. Training squadron. They had a fire 2 weeks ago. Got the aircraft on the ground. The pilot is Captain Robert Morgan, former Memphis Belle pilot. He survived 25 missions over Germany. Then they put him on B-29s. He will talk to you, but I warn you, he is not optimistic about this aircraft. Borgstrom writes down the name, Robert Morgan, Memphis Belle, a man who knows how to survive. Can you arrange a meeting? Hendricks checks his watch. He is scheduled for a training flight tomorrow at 0800. I can have you there by 0730. But Mr. Borgstrom, talking to Morgan might not help your morale. He lost his co-pilot in that fire. The man is angry, very angry. Good. Angry men tell the truth. Borgstrom picks up his briefcase. As he does, he notices something on the wall behind Heron's desk. A corkboard. Pinned to it are photographs, black and white 8x10s. Each photograph shows a B-29 crew. 11 men standing in front of their aircraft. Young faces, leather jackets, confident smiles. Borgstrom walks closer. He counts the photographs. 23. He realizes what he is looking at. These are memorial photos, dead crews. Every man in every photograph killed by engine fires. His eyes move across the faces. Boys, really. Most look younger than 25. In one photograph, a crew member is holding a small dog. In another, someone is making a peace sign at the camera. In a third, the entire crew is laughing at something off camera. Frozen moments of life before death. Borgstrom's eyes stop on one photograph. Third row, second from left. 11 men in front of a B-29. The tail number is visible. 410003. Eddie Allen's aircraft. The Seattle crash. Borgstrom recognizes one face. Harold Bowers, the flight engineer, 24 years old. In the photograph, he is smiling. His hand is on the shoulder of another crew member. He looks happy, confident, alive. Borgstrom feels something tight in his chest. He has to remind himself to breathe. 23 photographs, 253 men, all dead, all killed by a problem everyone says is unfixable. Heron notices him staring at the wall. His voice is quiet. We update it every month. We started with 6 photographs in December 1942. Now we have 23. By June, we will probably have 40, maybe 50. These are just the training accidents, Mr. Borgstrom, not combat losses. Training accidents over American territory. That wall represents the greatest aviation disaster in history. And it is classified. The press does not know. The public does not know. Just us. Just the families. Just the widows. Borgstrom cannot look away from Harold Bowers' photograph. He thinks about Patricia Bowers. Do not let my husband die for nothing. Fix your airplane. He turns to face Heron. I will fix it. I do not know how yet, but I will fix it. Heron's expression softens slightly. I hope you do, but hope has not saved anyone yet. Those men all had hope. Borgstrom walks to the door. His hand is shaking slightly when he reaches for the handle. He stops. He turns back. Mr. Heron, one more question. If you could change anything about this program, anything at all, what would it be? Heron does not hesitate. I would go back to 1940 and tell the Army Air Force that physics has limits, that you cannot make an engine produce 30% more power than it was designed for without consequences, that saving 9 pounds per engine is not worth 9 lives per crash. But I cannot go back to 1940, so instead I watch that wall grow, and I wait for someone like you to show up and promise to fix the unfixable, and I try very hard not to hope, because hope makes the failures hurt worse. Borgstrom leaves the engineering section. The factory floor is still running. Lathes, drill presses, the sound of engines being built, engines that will fail, engines that will kill. He walks outside into the cold New Jersey afternoon, March 8th. The sky is gray. It looks like rain. Borgstrom stands in the parking lot for 5 minutes. He is shaking, not from cold, from something else. Fear, maybe, or clarity, or the weight of 253 dead men pressing down on his shoulders. He gets in his rental car. He sits behind the wheel. He does not start the engine. He just sits. His hands are gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles are white. He thinks about the magnesium fire, the blinding white light, the water making it worse, the scorch mark on the concrete floor. He thinks about Samuel Heron's face, the exhaustion, the resignation, the wall of photographs. He thinks about Harold Bowers smiling in front of an aircraft that would burn him alive 17 days later. Borgstrom closes his eyes. He takes a deep breath. When he opens his eyes, he looks at his briefcase on the passenger seat. Inside are notes, calculations, thermal diagrams, a graph showing altitude versus time, a concept that might work, that should work, that violates everything the Air Force believes about bomber operations. He starts the car. He has to meet Captain Robert Morgan tomorrow morning at 07:30, a Memphis Bell pilot who lost his co-pilot to fire, a man who is angry, a man who will tell the truth. Borgstrom has 82 days left to beat physics. After today, it feels like 82 days might not be enough. Lear? Borgstrom almost smiles. Crystal clear, Captain. He walks to his car, gets in, looks back one time. Morgan is standing at the wing again, touching the scorch marks. His hand rests on the exact spot where the fire burned, where James Harrelson died. Morgan's hand is shaking, just slightly, barely visible. A man who survived 25 missions over Germany. A man who flew through flak that could shred aircraft. And his hand is shaking, touching burn marks on his own wing. Borgstrom starts the engine. He drives out of McGuire Field. He does not think about graphs or calculations or thermal analyses. He thinks about one thing: James Harrelson, 22 years old, dead in the right seat, and Robert Morgan landing an aircraft while talking to a corpse. If Borgstrom's math is wrong, 800 more James Harrelsons will die in the next year. If he is right, men like Morgan might actually survive their tours and go home. There is no middle ground, No partial success. Either the cruise climb works or it does not. Either engines stay cool or they catch fire. Either men live or they burn. Borgstrom has 79 days left and one chance to get it right. March 22, 1944, 5:43 in the morning. Wright Field, Dayton, Ohio. Henry Borgstrom is standing in the control tower watching a B-29 being fueled. The aircraft is number 428714. Captain Robert Morgan's aircraft. The same B-29 with scorch marks down the left wing. The same aircraft that killed Lieutenant James Harrelson. Maintenance crews spent 9 days repairing the fire damage, replacing burned skin panels, inspecting every rivet along the wing route, installing additional temperature sensors on all 4 engines, 18 sensors per engine, 72 total. Each one will record cylinder head temperature every 30 seconds for the entire flight. Borgstrom has not slept in 31 hours. He tried. He lay in his hotel room bed, staring at the ceiling, running calculations in his head. 1,800 horsepower cruise. 220 degrees Celsius expected cylinder head temp. Margin of error 30 degrees. Safe limit 250 degrees. If temperatures exceed 250 for more than 5 minutes, the test fails. If the test fails, 800 men will die over the next 12 months. At 5:52, Morgan's crew arrives. Borgstrom watches them walk across the flight line. 11 men, pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, navigator, bombardier, radio operator, 5 gunners. They are not talking. They are not joking. They walk in silence toward an aircraft that might burn them alive if Borgstrom's math is wrong. Morgan stops at the base of the entry ladder, looks up at the control tower. He cannot see Borgstrom through the glass, but he knows Borgstrom is there. Morgan salutes, not a military salute, just a raised hand, an acknowledgement. Then he climbs into the aircraft. At 600 hours, the engines start, one at a time. Engine 1, Engine 2, Engine 3, Engine 4. The sound is overwhelming, even from the tower. 18 cylinders per engine, 72 cylinders total, each one a controlled explosion happening 40 times per second. The sound of power, the sound of heat, the sound of machines operating at the edge of their design limits. Borgstrom is standing next to Major Thomas Crawford, Chief of Flight Test Operations. Crawford has a clipboard with a checklist. Next to him is a radio operator with a headset connected to Morgan's aircraft. On the wall behind them is a large board with 4 columns, one for each engine. Each column has 18 rows, one for each cylinder. As the flight progresses, the radio operator will write temperature readings on the board every 2 minutes. Crawford looks at Borgstrom. Mr. Borgstrom, under normal operational parameters, how long until engine failure? Borgstrom has answered this question 17 times in the past 10 days. He answers it again. At full power, rear cylinder head temps reach 290 degrees within 40 minutes. Exhaust valve failure typically occurs between 45 and 70 minutes. Catastrophic failure between 60 and 90 minutes. And under your proposed parameters, cylinder head temps should stabilize at 220 degrees after power reduction. Temps should remain stable for duration of flight. No failures expected. Crawford writes something on his clipboard. For the record, General LeMay believes this test is a waste of time. He believes your protocol will make aircraft vulnerable and will not prevent fires. General Arnold overruled him. So if this works, you become a hero. If it fails, LeMay will make sure you never work on a military program again. Understand? Borgstrom nods. He understands. At 6:03, Morgan's voice comes through the radio speaker. Right tower, this is Air Force 4287114. Ready for takeoff. Crawford picks up the microphone. 428714, cleared for takeoff runway 23. Wind calm. Altimeter 29er, 9er 2. Good luck, Bob. The B-29 begins rolling. Slowly at first. 135,000 pounds does not accelerate quickly. The engines are at full power, 2,200 horsepower each, 8,800 horsepower total. The noise is like standing next to a locomotive. The aircraft accelerates, 50 miles per hour, 70, 90. At 110 miles per hour, the nose lifts. At 125, the main gear leaves the runway. The B-29 is airborne. Borgstrom watches it climb. Wings level, steady climb rate. Everything by the book. At 2,000 feet, Morgan's voice comes through again. Right tower 428714, passing 2,000 feet. All engines normal. Beginning cruise climb profile. Crawford looks at Borgstrom. This is your show now. He either follows your protocol or he does not. The radio operator writes the first temperature readings on the board. 6:05, 2 minutes after takeoff. All engines still at full power. Engine 1 cylinder 14, 278 degrees. Engine 2 cylinder 14, 282 degrees. Engine 3 cylinder 14, 275 degrees. Engine 4, cylinder 14, 279 degrees. Borgstrom stares at the numbers. Cylinder 14 is rear row bottom position. Worst cooling position. The temperatures are already approaching critical. This is normal for full power climb. This is why engines fail. The question is whether Morgan will reduce power before temperatures exceed safe limits. At 6:07, Morgan's voice. Right tower reducing power to 1,800 horsepower. Beginning controlled descent to cruise altitude. Crawford looks at the board, then at Borgstrom. He is descending, at full combat weight. This violates every operational procedure in the manual. That is the point. The manual is wrong. At 6:09, the radio operator writes new temperatures. Engine 1 cylinder, 14, 263 degrees. Engine 2 cylinder 14, 267 degrees. Engine 3 cylinder 14, 261 degrees. Engine 4 cylinder 14, 265 degrees. Temperatures are dropping, not fast, but steady. Borgstrom feels something release in his chest. It is working. The engines are cooling. At 6:11, new readings. Engine 1 cylinder 14, 246 degrees. Engine 2 cylinder 14, 251 degrees. Engine 3 cylinder 14, 243 degrees. Engine 4 cylinder 14, 249 degrees. Still dropping. Below, critical threshold. The radio operator writes faster now. New readings every 2 minutes. 6:13, 6:15, 6:17. Each set of numbers lower than the last. 230 degrees. 225. 218. At 6:19, the temperatures stabilize. Engine 1 cylinder 14, 219 degrees. Engine 2 cylinder 14, 223 degrees. Engine 3 cylinder 14, 217 degrees. Engine 4 cylinder 14, 221 degrees. Borgstrom is gripping the edge of the table. His knuckles are white. 220 degrees. Exactly what the math predicted. The engines are running cool. The protocol is working. Crawford is watching the board. His expression has changed. Less skeptical, more interested. Mr. Borgstrom, your math appears to be correct, but we are 20 minutes into an 8-hour simulated combat mission. The question is whether temps remain stable. They will. How can you be sure? Because physics does not change. The engines are producing 1,800 horsepower. Heat generation is constant. Cooling airflow is constant. Temperature is the equilibrium between heat generated and heat dissipated. As long as Morgan maintains power settings, temps will stay stable. For 8 hours, Borgstrom stands in the tower watching numbers appear on the board. Every 2 minutes, new temperatures. Engine 1, Engine 2, Engine 3, Engine 4, 18 cylinders per engine, 72 data points every 2 minutes. By 6:45, there are 20 sets of readings on the board. By 7:30, there are 40 sets. By 0900, there are 90 sets. Every single reading is between 215 and 230 degrees. Every single cylinder is running cool. No spikes, no failures, no fires. At 0943, Morgan's voice comes through the radio. Right tower, this is 428-714. 7 hours, 40 minutes into flight. All engines normal. All cylinder head temps stable. Fuel remaining 3,000 gallons. We are simulating target approach, increasing power to 2,000 horsepower for bomb run. The next temperature reading shows a spike. Expected. Combat power for the bomb run. The hottest cylinders jump to 258 degrees. Above the safe limit, but only for 12 minutes. Then Morgan reduces power again, and temps drop back to 220. At 1400 hours, Morgan lands. 8 hours of flight time. Full combat profile. Simulated mission to Japan and back. 0 engine failures. 0 fires. 0 problems. Borgstrom walks out of the tower. His legs are shaking. He has been standing for 8 hours watching numbers on a board. Morgan's aircraft taxis to the ramp. The engines shut down one by one. The propellers stop spinning. The crew door opens. Morgan climbs out first. He sees Borgstrom, walks toward him. His expression is unreadable. Borgstrom cannot tell if Morgan is angry or relieved or disappointed. When Morgan gets close enough, Borgstrom can see his face is covered in sweat. 8 hours in a B-29 cockpit. 8 hours of stress. 8 hours wondering if the engines would catch fire. Morgan stops 3 feet away. He looks at Borgstrom, then extends his hand. It worked. The engines stayed cool. Cylinder head temps never exceeded 230, except during the simulated bomb run. Your math was right. Borgstrom shakes his hand. He cannot speak. His throat is too tight. Morgan continues. For 8 hours, I waited for the fire warning light. For 8 hours, I waited to smell smoke. For 8 hours, I was ready to bail out. And nothing happened. The engines just ran. Cool, steady, reliable, like they were supposed to work all along. Morgan releases Borgstrom's hand. James Harrelson died because nobody knew how to fly this aircraft correctly. He died because we were running engines at full power when we did not need to. He died because doctrine was wrong. You fixed that. You saved his life. Except it is too late for him, but it is not too late for everyone else. Morgan turns and walks back to his crew. They are standing by the aircraft. 11 men who just proved that Borgstrom's theory works. 11 men who will deploy to Saipan in 6 weeks and fly combat missions over Japan using the cruise climb protocol. Crawford walks up to Borgstrom. He has his clipboard. He has 8 hours of temperature data. He has proof. Mr. Borgstrom, I will be recommending immediate implementation of your protocol to General Arnold. Every pilot will be retrained. Every technical manual will be rewritten. You just changed how America flies bombers. Borgstrom nods. He is too exhausted to feel triumph. He just feels relief. The test worked. The math was right. 800 men might actually survive. 3 weeks later, April 15th, 1944, Army Air Force Directive 142-B is issued. Cruise Climb Power Management Protocol. Mandatory for all B-29 operations. 1,800 horsepower cruise. 2,200 horsepower for takeoff, climb, and combat only. Immediate implementation. 4,000 pilots are retrained in 2 weeks. 20,000 crew members learn the new procedures. Every B-29 in production is modified with additional temperature instrumentation. Every airfield in the Pacific receives updated technical manuals. On June 15, 1944, the first B-29 combat mission launches from Saipan. 98 aircraft. Target Bangkok, Thailand. Borgstrom's protocol is used. 0 in-flight engine fires. All aircraft return safely. On November 24, 1944, 111 B-29s attack Tokyo. First raid on the Japanese home islands since the Doolittle raid in 1942. 16-hour round-trip mission. 2 aircraft lost to enemy action. 0 lost to engine fires. On March 9, 1945, 334 B-29s conduct Operation Meeting House. The Tokyo firebombing, the most destructive air raid in human history. 14 aircraft lost to enemy action. 1 lost to engine failure caused by bird strike. 0 lost to magnesium fires. On August 6, 1945, B-29 number 4486292, Enola Gay drops the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima. On August 9th, B-29 number 4427297, Boxcar drops the second atomic bomb on Nagasaki. Both aircraft fly using Borgstrom's cruise climb protocol. Both missions are executed without engine problems. From April 1944 to August 1945, B-29s fly 34,790 combat missions using the cruise climb protocol. 127 engine fires occur. 19 aircraft are lost to engine fires. 184 crew members die from engine fire-related causes. Compare this to the previous 4-month period. 847 missions. 89 engine fires. 47 aircraft lost. 403 crew members dead. The protocol reduced engine fire deaths by 91.3%. November 1945. Boeing Field, Seattle. The war is over. B-29 production is winding down. Henry Borgstrom is back in his metallurgy lab. He has returned to his normal work. Bearing analysis, stress testing, the quiet work of an engineer who never sought attention. A car pulls up outside the lab. A man in a leather jacket gets out. Captain Robert Morgan, no longer a captain. Major Robert Morgan now. He completed 32 combat missions over Japan. He brought his crew home every single time. 0 casualties. He is alive because Borgstrom's math was correct. Morgan walks into the lab. Borgstrom is surprised. They have not spoken since the test flight in March. Major Morgan, what brings you to Seattle? Morgan reaches into his jacket, pulls out a piece of paper, hands it to Borgstrom. This is a list, 340 names. Every pilot who used your protocol and survived missions that would have killed them under the old procedures. I collected these names from squadron commanders across the Pacific. These men are alive because of you. I thought you should know their names. Borgstrom takes the paper. He looks at the names. He does not recognize any of them. But each name represents a life saved. Each name represents a mother who did not receive a telegram. Each name represents a wife who did not become a widow, Morgan continues. There is one more name that should be on that list, Lieutenant James Harrelson. He is not there because your protocol came too late for him. But he is the reason I agreed to test your concept. I flew that test mission for him. Every combat mission I flew after that, I flew for him. You saved 340 lives. I wish you could have saved 341. Borgstrom looks up from the list. So do I, Major. So do I. Morgan extends his hand one final time. Thank you, Mr. Borgstrom. James would have thanked you too. He leaves. Borgstrom stands alone in his lab holding a piece of paper with 340 names. He thinks about Harold Bowers, about Patricia Bowers, about the wall at Wright Aeronautical with 23 dead crews, about General Arnold knowing Harold Bowers since he was 8 years old. Borgstrom pins the list to his wall. Above it, he writes one sentence. They deserved to live. They did, and because of cruise climb power management, 340 of them did.